Hello and welcome everyone back to another episode of
Not Fighting.
I do like a lot of different weird podcasts, and I feel like I had to ask myself at the last minute, what's the name of the podcast / show?
But it's good because you never say it. I do. So
Yeah, I know.
it's on me.
It's a nice hack, right?
You know? Yeah.
You build those things in.
But I do hear you say the same thing a lot for when you're up here working. We're like in his office space where we're recording right now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the unfortunate side effect of being stuck at home all the time right now. Although we've kind of gotten to break that up here just a little bit recently.
Yeah. There's been a lot of things that have felt very normal in my life really recently. I've been traveling. I feel like we're on at least me, because you didn't go with me the last time, but an every other week or weekend traveling for competition or...
Yeah.
That's the same next weekend I'm gone too. So that's why we haven't been able to get as many episodes out here recently. We've been kind of busy on the road, and the days that we like to record, we've been traveling or I've been gone. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we back.
Yeah,
hopefully we're going to record some backup episodes this week.
Yeah, some backups.
That's the plan.
We're trying to rework our schedules a little bit, as I'm sure everybody can probably relate to some degree.
Yeah.
But it's not like we've been traveling any place like overly appealing and that's not to take away from places like Texas or Connecticut. I won't make any apologies for Connecticut, but Texas is cool. It's not like every week we're traveling some exotic location.
Destination's location,
Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. But it's been nice to just kind of get out and about. And if you're wondering how safe it is to travel, I mean, with all the, the pandemic going on, I still have not contracted the virus.
Whoop, whoop.
But I will say American Airlines is not doing their best.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, with the fires and stuff, California, getting out of California may be safer.
Yeah, I kind of didn't realize how bad it was until I was in Connecticut all last week and then came back, and it's just the air quality is so bad. My sinuses and everything, I'm just waking up feeling and you go outside and it's weird, you get this raspiness in your throat and stuff just because the sky is all hazy from all the fires throughout the state, and then also, the sun has been this very orange color.
Yeah, it's really ominous.
Very, very orange.
I was
creepy.
I was trying to explain it to you while you were gone, because it really didn't start happening until the day before you left, where you looked up at the clouds and you're like, "Is that smoke from a fire?" And I was sort of dismissive about it. I was like, "No, it's just..."
Yeah, the day before we were like, "What is that? Is that smoke? It doesn't look like clouds. It looks like fire." But then and then the next morning we woke up, there was ash all over the car that was parked outside.
I had a full crazy charred leaf just on the car. That's how I knew it was from a fire.
And they're not close to us, really, really. It's an hour away.
Yeah.
Where that main one was, but still. Anywho,
well,
not really relevant.
I mean, I think it is to a certain extent, because it's one of those things where it's I think people are restricted in a lot of respects as to the things that they can do. In some cases, still jiu-jitsu being one of them. And it kind of speaks to something we were talking about quite a bit this week, specifically because you were traveling and you were cornering Kat Zingano in her Bellator fight, which congratulations to Kat and to you.
Yeah, that was fun.
She won.
She made it easy.
Spoiler alert.
She made it easy. Yeah, but I think it's something that we kind of wanted to talk about, is the therapeutic aspect of jiu-jitsu, and is it good? Is it bad? How many people out there really consider it therapy? And because something that I've been hearing a lot lately is that, there's been so many people that have been holding off on training, and I don't want to train because of pandemic, trying to do your best, stay at home, do your part, those kinds of things to prevent the spread of the virus. But then they have had so many people come to me at a certain point and say I just couldn't take it anymore. It's I risk my mental health or I come and I train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think it's that way with a lot of different things, just being active and not being cooped up. But there's something very therapeutic in my mind about just being able to kind of fight another human being.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned like training jiu-jitsu. Is it therapeutic? I mean, I would say, you could ask a broader question of like, is fighting therapeutic,
Yeah.
I think like initially my first thought on jiu-jitsu is like, well, you have so many people that are willing to be like, jiu-jitsu saved me. And that's true. It's like, I think there's a lot of people that jiu-jitsu is really good for them. I think I may have mentioned it in another episode, but like jiu-jitsu is a really great scaffolding because if you can get good at it and dedicate yourself to it, like you can apply that like methodology for like learning and self-improvement to like everything else in life. But I don't know that it's always therapeutic or it's always just a net positive, if that makes sense.
No, I think especially for me, like when it started becoming kind of my job, then it loses that like I guess like a little bit of the therapy in a sense, because like when you go to training or you go to like teach and those kinds of things, I'm like, I'm doing it because I have to, or I'm doing it, and a lot of times I want to, but it's not like I'm doing this as a release, like that, like whatever. But I think on some days, you just want to go in there, and that's why I love like having, getting to be a student and a teacher, is because I need those days of just being a student where I can just go in, I'm gonna train, and like just let go of like the world's problems. You're not thinking about, what's going on at home or what's going on at work or what's going on anywhere else. Like you're just training, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and like just to kind of separate it from like the obligatory part of jiu-jitsu, meaning like, I have to go, feeling, taking everything else that's like associated with jiu-jitsu out of it, the act of like actually rolling, or I guess fighting, I guess we could look at it broadly, like, is that therapeutic, do you think?
Yes. I think that is the most therapeutic in a lot of ways. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but like I've talked to a lot of women, and I've talked to even recently, is like there's times that, we get kind of emotional, like our hormones are like all over the place throughout the month. But I think that jiu-jitsu kind of helps deal with that. And then sometimes we all feel bad because like, even though we're sparring, it's like when you're sparring with somebody, you like, it's easier to get frustrated. It's easier to get like, if you're in a certain headspace, there's like sometimes that it's almost detrimental where it like exacerbates those like bad negative feelings. But like when it exacerbates those things, if you can just get through that and keep going, like there's been times where I'm like literally just can't, I'm just feeling all my feelings, and then getting frustrated on the mat, and I'm feeling like I just can't contain myself, and I just want to cry, and like I don't know why. I'm not mad. I'm just like my emotions. That's the only
crazy.
Yes, crazy. I feel crazy sometimes. But it's just like you want to cry, but I'm like, I don't want my partners to stop training. I'm like, no, this is okay. Just please keep going. I'm okay. I know I'm crying, but it's fine. Just let me go.
So to play devil's advocate though, like, all the range of emotions and all the kind of like things, and you feel better when it's all over with or whatever. Like, how does that differentiate from something like drinking, let's say, where it's like somebody, they have stress or how they deal with their problems, they decide they're just going to go like drink or like use some kind of drugs or something like that, and that's, they go through they become crazy too. Like, what's the difference?
I think the big difference is that one is like a lot healthier for you. I think arguably. I mean, your joints might not feel that way, but like overall, like exercising and working out is you never get done with that, and you're feeling like, I mean, for me, like I never get done training or working out and feel like oh my God, like that was so bad for me, unless I was pushing through an injury that I shouldn't. But that's a different topic.
I've had lots of those moments, but they're like, what you said. I think that there's another aspect of that we can maybe touch into, like that where jiu-jitsu can be unhealthy, which I think you and I have talked about before.
For sure.
But I could be unhealthy with pretty much anything.
Yeah.
That's my personality.
And maybe like too much of anything is not great for you. Really, truly, that could be a way. Like you can train too much, or you can work out too much to the point of like diminishing returns, where you're breaking your body down. But I think it's more about the mental health than the physical health in a lot of ways, where, like alcohol and drugs will like alter your brain in a like really negative way, and it kind of like leads to more depression. It's like a very temporary fix, where it's like jiu-jitsu or like, and actually fighting people, it's like I get to get it all out and then I can feel good afterward, and I don't have any of like the negative side effects.
I heard somebody really smart once say, and I can't remember where I heard this. It was a long time ago.
It was Tyler Bishop.
It was Tyler Bishop. So, so you can quote me on this. But yeah, like a good therapy should be a lot like your laundry. So like everybody kind of deals with like your clothes get dirty, and basically when it comes time to like deal with that, do you like wash them and get them out of the wash and your clothes are clean, or do you just stuff them all in the closet? And drinking and using like basically anything that would basically take those problems and temporarily relieve it, like
a Band-Aid.
Yeah, put those in the closet. Like your clothes aren't getting any cleaner, and the closet eventually just gets full of everything.
Yeah.
Or like, do you like put your clothes into something and then take them out and they're clean again? And I think that that's like a really good definition for like what is therapeutic and what isn't.
Yeah.
But I also think one of the things that's interesting that you brought up was like the act of like fighting being something that's helpful. Like you cry, like maybe not every time.
No, that's just like maybe like once a month.
But like,
and I know you ladies can relate to me.
Yeah, if you're dudes and you're crying a lot of jiu-jitsu, there might be something else going on.
Yeah, you probably training with me.
Yeah, that's true. That is the only time I cry. No, the thing that I wonder about though is like, there's a difference between a therapy and a medicine, and
yes.
I do think that like actually rolling can be very therapeutic. Everybody has that experience where it's like, I don't want to train today, and then you go and you train, and you feel a lot better, and you aren't mad that you came. But I don't know that it's always a medicine, meaning like you can't take somebody with problems and then teach them jiu-jitsu, and then jiu-jitsu like kind of sorts that out. Like,
yeah, I do think that that's like kind of a common like misconception, and it's a little bit what we touched on with the jiu-jitsu lifestyle like type thing, where it's kind of becomes a little bit culty and a little bit like of a religion.
Yeah.
In a way where it I see the same thing kind of happen with CrossFitters, like that religion, like where it's like this is like what we're doing, and it's like just learn jiu-jitsu and then all your problems are solved, like life is going to be better. And it's like, no, like it teaches you problem solving. It teaches you the skill set of like, you kind of have to figure things out. And it's really cool to watch people and to train. And it's like, man, you get to solve a puzzle in every roll and every fight. And sometimes it just feels good, like I think people have the same thing with like working out. And it's like, sometimes I just want to go like throw around some heavy weight, or like, I don't know, like that's just throw around a human being. Like it's nice to be able to do that because it's like kind of gets out your rage.
Yeah, and I think
without actually like harming anyone.
See,
we've all agreed to it.
My experience with that is like I don't have like a rage that I need to get out. I actually think it's unhealthy for me to like physically express anger. Like I'm somebody that has to like I have to speak it out because that's just more of how I express myself in general. I don't shut up. All I do is talk.
I know
what I do for a living. But I do think that like there's a certain aspect of the process of doing jiu-jitsu that very well like or just martial arts or fighting in general aligns with like, man, I'm gonna hit you guys with some weird stats here, but I just promise I'm not pulling them out of nowhere. The very first company I ever worked for, or startup, basically dealt in the science of positive psychology. And basically positive psychology says 50% of how happy you are is genetic. Like,
okay.
So it's set, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, mom and dad. Can't change it. The other 50% is determined by what you do, the activities that you're involved with. So that 50% is basically determined by three things: your social relationships, and then self-development, and then if the things that you're doing align with your strengths and values. So So,
and that's like jiu-jitsu to a T, right? It's like you have this sense of community. You get to be part of something that's kind of bigger than yourself. So it's like you get, and then it's all about self-development. Like
checks
that's what
all
it
the
is.
boxes.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes. And I think that's, very healing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I was hearing a noise outside.
I know. I was trying to figure out what it was too. That's why I kind of paused.
Yeah. I decided it was not a dog related noise so that we were good.
No, I think it's my neighbors doing something.
Yeah, something weird. Anyways, but yeah, I think that's one of the things that people are maybe missing out on right now, and maybe where jiu-jitsu really has an application at the current time, and that is in the social impact. I think you're somebody that really needs a lot of like social interaction to feel healthy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I do, but we've talked about this recently. Like
I feel like it's not even like I don't a lot of social interaction. It's just I need that. Like you and I are always together, and that's like easy, and that's something that's great, but I need to be connected to other people. I need that, and it's in my DNA, and I think that's one of my favorite things about jiu-jitsu. And I've had like a couple times here recently when I get done teaching class in the evening, and then there's like been a couple of the kids that are like, you never leave when you say you're going to leave. You're always here for like an hour and you talk. And it's like, yeah, because I enjoy talking with people and connecting with people. And so, sometimes I'm like, I know Tyler's at home working, so I'll just stay and chat for a little bit with whomever is like there still.
And I think that that's one of those things that maybe we've all taken for granted, where it's, you said, I'm the kind of person that we all need that, whether you want to admit it or not. Even the most introverted people, I've realized this here recently. Like, man, jiu-jitsu has actually been so good for me recently because it's like, it's built in. You have to interact with people socially. It would be weird to go to jiu-jitsu and not say a word to anybody. It would almost be impossible.
Yes. I do feel like there's been people that have done that before. And I'm like, I feel like I can kind of see a face of a human that has been this way, that they're very awkward like that. But then I cannot picture it to remember a name. And maybe you'll remember. But yeah, that is kind of, it would be very weird. And it is very weird to go and just not talk to anybody the whole time.
Yeah, I think I was trying to think.
Can you please remember this for me?
I didn't know if you
cannot.
At first, I thought you might be like we don't want to name drop this person.
No. It's just like that. I can't remember. There was like, it's just flashbacks of like awkwardness.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that jiu-jitsu offers to people that maybe, in this entire process are like, I need social. Maybe I didn't realize how much I needed it, or maybe I just know that I need it and I'm not getting it. Like jiu-jitsu provides that. And like you were saying earlier, where it's like, I'm willing to take the risk to like, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I think that there is a balancing act to be had now where it's like, in our attempts to try to like avoid contracting a virus. And in many cases, people have become really unhealthy in a lot of other ways. And and I don't think that I do think it is important that we don't discount that.
Yeah, I think that, there's a lot to be said about, just keeping your body healthy. And I was talking about it, you kind of need to to keep your immune system up. Like, I'm not a doctor, but to keep your immune system up, like, it's good to be exposed to different germs and things like that. So if like everybody's just been like sanitizing, like keeping everything clean and keeping your distance, like I feel like you're more susceptible to getting sick. Like when you do expose yourself. That being said, like, I'm not like trying to like hate on anybody's choices. I'm like commenting on like how I feel and how other people have said to me. And it's just like, if I were to just isolate myself and just trying to like completely do that, I think I would be a lot unhealthier than if I were to like have risked getting a virus.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Obviously, we're not fighting about that.
No,
that's why we named a podcast what we named it. But like, I do think that from a standpoint of like jiu-jitsu being something, I think that this is a real application of where jiu-jitsu actually probably can help some people. That this period of time has been damaging for. It's like, I think that jiu-jitsu is something a lot of people can find it to be therapeutic. That said, I do want to point out the fact that there are people that do jiu-jitsu or get into jiu-jitsu, and I think other people think, and maybe even they think, like, this is going to fix the problems that I have, and all you see is those problems amplified through jiu-jitsu, meaning like when they're in class, like you see their personal flaws, you see their issues, whatever, like those things are just apparent to everybody else.
But in the same way, so like with any therapy, I think that it's not just that you like go and participate in this therapy and you're better. It's like you still have to, as much as jiu-jitsu is a self-development thing, it's like it's teaching you how to do those things in other areas of your life as well, So if you're not working on those when you're at the academy, like for me, like it's very easy for me to like, I will get in moods and I'm like, man, I'm so angry. And then and I've told you, I'm like, I need to not, usually when that happens, I'm like, I can't roll with you because I'm so angry. It's only going to get amplified more. And it's not even like that I'm mad at him. It's that I'm like angry about something else. And because we have this intimate relationship, I feel like I can take it out on you and you can handle it, but it's not okay.
And then I become that Ralph Wiggum meme and it's like, I'm in danger.
But it's not okay, but it's also something that I do recognize. And so instead of me just being like, no, we're training together because this is what I said, I'm be like, okay, guess what? We can't train together right now. Or, with other training partners, there's been many times where I'm like just in a bad mood and like fighting bad or training bad makes it worse. And I have to apologize to my training partners because I will get salty in the way that I fight. And it's not like, I'm not like throwing punches in a jiu-jitsu match or anything, but, close to it.
I think one of the things that makes jiu-jitsu therapeutic, and why I say like I think it really comes back to like your openness for using it as a therapy.
Yes.
Because jiu-jitsu is one of those things we've talked about it before, like the truth comes out on the mat, but like it exposes a lot of elements of your personality. Are you the kind of person that gets easily frustrated? Are you the person that pays attention? Are you the person that is following all the details, following the rules? Are you, like tenacious whenever, it comes down to it, or are you somebody that's very passive and things like that? Like these are all things that jiu-jitsu like exposes in you that you might not see, and you see them because you can't help it. It's exposed by others. Yeah. They're physically exposing it in you, and then others see it as well, and you can either say like, that's who I am.
That's just me, so deal.
Or you can be like, no, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, that's the whole thing. Like, I think that's the whole point of like therapy in general, right? Is like to like expose what's wrong, find the root of the problem, and then, work on that. And so jiu-jitsu can kind of allow you to do that. I feel like it's definitely helped me with different aspects of my personality that I thought for a long time, I'm like, I was that way where I'm like, that's just me and you need to get over it. Like, kind of thing. This is just who I am. I'm honest and whatever. I'm going to say my mind. And like, that's, I think, good for me, but it's also bad in a lot of ways because I would use it as an excuse to be rude to people.
But do you have to be a certain type of person to be able to extract that from it? So like a good example of something that I think about is early on in the pandemic when we were like learning in the garage and you were like trying to show me stuff and you were getting frustrated because you're like, why aren't you learning this? And I learned about myself. Like I see something and I think I understand. And it's not so much that I'm just like, not paying attention to the details now. It's that my brain works that way.
Yes.
It's that I can't help it. It's like, I don't see the rest of it.
No.
Because it thinks like not even me, not even my person, like my brain is like calculating this, right?
Yes.
And so I'm like, oh, I saw how I was doing that in other parts of my life, and it is so hard to train out of me, but I am actively working on it. Now that said, I'm the person that actively works on myself.
Yeah.
So does somebody else get that out of it unless you're that type of person to begin with? Do you have to be self-reflective? Because I feel like that type of person is going to be the type of person that benefits from almost every kind of therapy.
But I think that's the thing is like, there's layers to like the kind of therapy it is. It's like, you know, are you somebody that's like in it for the long haul, like the journey of jiu-jitsu and like the therapy of like self-development in ways more than just physical? Or because I think there's no way that you can't mentally like work on your development like and do jiu-jitsu, right? Because you're probably going to stay pretty stagnant if you're just like kind of not trying to get better. But I think that some people, maybe it's just a therapy of like, I just need to come in and I need to like have like a physical like altercation with somebody and it's just going to make me feel better. Well, it's like this simple release.
That's my next question, which is basically like, is there any, I guess, is there like inherent virtuous merit in just throttling nerds? Like, if you're somebody that has some kind of issue, just coming in and being better than other people and just like, not maliciously, not hurting people, but just putting people through the ringer. Do you walk out of there and does that help you?
Yes. It helps me.
Like, I think there's probably a self-esteem boosting aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, there's a sense of accomplishment when you like, and that kind of helps too, when you like execute a move properly that you've learned, like that kind of thing. So maybe it's just that, but I don't even think it'd have to be jiu-jitsu. You could do like other martial arts.
Croquet?
No, you're not gonna throttle any nerds in croquet.
You've never seen me play croquet.
Honestly, I don't know how it's played.
I mean, it's only played by nerds, so.
But really, like, and we mean nerds in like a really nice way.
Yeah, like you're all nerds to me.
Yeah. But
I like how you like doubled down. You were like, yeah, they are all nerds.
Everybody's a nerd. Everybody
that I throttle is.
No, I think I also think that there's something kind of good for the ego and humbling and therapeutic for getting throttled. Like, as hard as that is like, that's, man, it's like, I don't know all the answers. Like, there's always somebody better, and getting exposed and like seeing weaknesses and then also knowing that there's like holes and things. I don't know. I don't even know if it has anything to do with the mental of it. It's just like the physical, like, man, like they just wrecked me and I couldn't do anything. And like it kind of felt good in a sense, like not to lose, but it's just like, I don't know, like just that battle. And you're just like, dang.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like that kind of leads me, I guess, to the last point, which is like, you know, exactly what you were just saying, which is, you know, I think there is something. I think everybody can agree. There's something therapeutic about overcoming challenges, right? Like everybody starts jiu-jitsu, you're not great at it. You're gonna have to have those bad days, all that kind of stuff. You getting past that is really good for you, and you see that obviously after that's happened. Here's a question: if you're somebody that desperately needs therapy and you need that, like, the benefit of throttling a nerd, like being a white belt is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
You're the nerd being throttled for the most part.
Until a new nerd shows up.
Usually. But you know what? Realistically, like it might be a year before you're throttling anybody,
It's
you know?
true.
And so like is that going to make it difficult for some people to receive that therapeutic part of it because it's like all uphill to start?
No, I think that's exactly what it is. It's like, it's a challenge, and the challenge never ends. Like every day you come in, you try your hardest, you get humbled, you have to set your ego aside, which a lot of days, like, really truly think about it. Like if you're having a bad day, or if you're just like things are going wrong, like maybe it's just because your ego is just too in the way for you to, like, you know, see what you need to change or whatever. And so you go to jiu-jitsu, you get humbled, that ego has to take a back seat. And like maybe you can have a little bit more clarity on things.
Yeah, and I do think that is a big part of all therapy. I think being able to take as much of you out of the equation of your life is possible, which I know is like really, really difficult. But being able to like step back unemotionally and like objectively look at your situation, your life, your problems, whatever it is, and being able to just be kind of like honest about like the evaluation, because I think some people either aren't hard enough on themselves or are too hard on themselves, or maybe both in different circumstances, you know?
It's like you go opposite directions.
I can't believe I always do this versus, or like, I'm fine, it's everybody else that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know? And I think being able to kind of step back and be like, well, like maybe this is why I'm always in this situation where I'm always late. You know, or whatever it is. Like, I don't care enough about people's feelings. Or whatever. I don't know. I created this entire scenario that I
mean, it was about people being late, so,
but,
I don't know.
Yeah, but not caring about their feelings. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
The guy's always working, and kids are always like, Dad, where are you?
Okay.
Yeah. I imagine our dog is our kid sometimes, and that he has thoughts like that.
I mean, I talk to him like he's our kid.
Oh, you were gone last week. I had long conversations with the dog. I worry about where I'm at from a mental health standpoint.
Which is exactly like proves my point, is that at least you had jiu-jitsu and you got to get out of the house, so you didn't go insane talking to our dog the whole time I was
God
gone.
only knows like what you would have came home to if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu.
If we didn't have jiu-jitsu, like, oh my God, like what would you have done?
And be like, we're both wearing hats now.
I really worry about you. Like, the schizophrenia runs in the family.
It does. It does.
I didn't know this until after we were married.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Sometimes people can be schizophrenic for a long period of time and hide it. That's like one of the biggest.
I feel like you would be that person for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you would hide it because
I'm great.
You're smart enough and you're a good salesman, or like good at marketing, so you can like put on this front and like just I guess make it seem like things are other than a different way than they are.
I've got incredible endurance too. You think about draining my knees and all the broken fingers I've had. Like if something's wrong with me, I can get through it for a while.
Oh, guys, pray for me and pray for Tyler, because I might be in a bad situation soon. And I just don't know it.
But thank God for jiu-jitsu.
Yes, thank God.
Because it's like a daily check-in with people so that they know you're all right.
Yes.
No.
I think that's like a big thing that's like actually, you know, I always talk about, I don't want to force people to come to jiu-jitsu. I don't want it to be like, where are you? You should be training, blah, blah, blah. But I do check in with people a lot, like, hey, where have you been? And it's more of like not like, you know, it's like, I miss seeing you on the mats. And then also like, is everything okay? Like, why aren't you training? Just because, like, is life okay? You know, checking in.
I do think that's part of the social stuff too, where it's like, you know, just feeling cared for. I think there's a lot of people that don't feel valued. And I think just being able to come to a place where people are like asking you about how you're doing, you know, if you're somebody like you're a single mother or something like that and you're taking care of somebody else all the time, like you might be in a situation where you just feel like no one ever cares about me, you know? And, you know, I think that situation plays itself out in a lot of different ways, whether you've got people at home or, you know, I think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
because you need that I guess ability to like just kind of like, I don't have to care about anybody right now. It's like me and my training partner, which you should always be like looking out for your training partners, but that's more about the way that you train versus like the therapy of jiu-jitsu, and you get to just kind of be selfish. It's about you and like your journey versus anybody else's anything, which is why, reminder, like, don't compare yourself to other people. Also reminder, say no to drugs. Yep. Yeah. Anybody else's anything. That's a good title. What? That's what you said. Anybody else's no. What did you say? I don't know what I said. People remind me of things I say on this podcast all the time. I said, well, I said that? I blacked out. I'm schizophrenic. I just talk, man. All right. Well, that's it for this podcast. Yeah. We want to thank you for listening. If you like the show, leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Those are always helpful. Share it with your friends, coworkers, softball coaches, middle school superintendents. PE teachers. Yeah, PE teachers is a good one. Yeah. Neighbors. Their cats. Fishing derby partners. What is a fishing derby? My cousins used to do it all the time. Oh, yeah. You can explain that, can't you? It's like basically just groups of fishing.
people just go fish together. I think you weigh them or measure them or something like that. I don't know. I never won a fishing derby.
Wow.
To this day, still bothers me.
Who always won the fishing derby?
I don't know. The redneck kids. They're all dead. Most of them are.
That's such a sad thing. You said that like so nonchalant.
There's a lot of them that are dead that didn't make it. I mean, it's meth and stuff, so I mean like, let's not
fishing, but
let's not like get too. Let's not lose a lot of sleep over it. You know, they made their choices.
I mean, it's sad.
It's sad, but I mean, I don't know. I don't want to end on that note.
Wow, you're really heartless.
We did say don't do drugs, so don't do meth. Do fishing derbies; they're fun. You know, the guys that are doing meth are winning all the fishing derbies. Don't feel bad.
Can I have one question about a fishing derby? If I do a fishing derby, can somebody else put the worm on my hook for me?
I mean, yeah, my dad generally did.
Oh, you made your dad do it?
I was like always getting hooks in my hands because I was just hurrying up trying to do it real fast. It takes so much patience, and I had
How many times did you like go to reel and like snag somebody else?
Oh, my pole was always tangled. It was always tangled. I didn't snag other people.
Okay. I thought for sure you would like go to cast and then like it would just get whipped on somebody else.
No, it was more like, oh, I forgot to push the button. I forgot about that detail. And then pole's completely tangled. And then Dad would give me his and he'd untangle it for an hour and a half. And then we'd swap because I'd tangled the one that he'd given me.
How old were you at this time?
20. No, just... All right. Thanks everyone for watching another episode of
Not Fighting.